guys, welcome back and welcome to everyone who's new. Very happy to have you here. So today I want to be talking about the new Colourpop No Filter foundation, and I already know that everybody and their mama has done regular wear tests, so there's no surprise there if you want to go see what that looks like. What I actually want to do is a comparison test between the No Filter foundation from Colourpop and the Covergirl True Blend Matte Made. They both claim to be comfort matte finishes, and they both claim to be long wearing. So I've already tested this out. I have a video completely dedicated to this if anybody does want to see it. I'll leave that link down below. But as far as the Colourpop one, I not only have the foundation, I also picked up the No Filter Sheer Press Powder. I picked up the pressed powder instead of the loose one because I do not have very good luck with loose powders. I only have a very select few, which I mean essentially two, that work for me. So I chose to go with the pressed powder instead because I want to see how that works out. And I also picked up the No Filter Concealer because I have never tried this out at all, as many people have raved about it and talked about it and sung its praises. I've never taken the plunge to trying it out, so I picked that up as well so that I can try that out. And then we actually have here the foundation itself, which I have to tell you, everything came very well packaged. So then we have here the foundation itself, which looks like this. And just for the record, I picked up medium 90. Now, please forgive me if my color choice is off because it's really difficult online to, I mean, first of all, they have 42 shades, so that's amazing, but it's difficult online to just go off of the descriptions. It's easier in store when you can swatch, which is exactly why I wanted to compare the two, because although you can't swatch this in store, it does help sometimes when you can actually see the bottle and you can actually see the color that's coming in there and you can see what you're getting. Like right now, holding them close together, they look like they're just like one is way off from the other. If the colors are off, also please keep in mind I've been out in the sun, I've been tanning, so they may very well still be off, but the important thing is we're here to test out the formula. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to first put on a layer of each one on either side of my face using a sponge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it up in a second layer, and I'm going to be using the Luxie Precision Foundation brush. So enough rambling. I'm going to fast forward through this part so that you can see it without it taking a million years. And then I'll be back with some thoughts as soon as we've gotten through that part. Okay, so at this point, you can definitely tell I forgot to do a close-up of one side, didn't I? I did. Okay, so here is the Covergirl side. Alright, so at this point we can definitely tell that the Colourpop one is lighter than the Covergirl side, which is fine because, again, in the wintertime, it most likely would be my shade. Right now, with just the sponge application, they are both feeling just about the same. So aside from the fact that I'm looking like Two-Face, let's now go in with an extra pump for either side, and then we're going to go in with the brush. That is hilarious. Okay. I'll tell you one thing. Aside from the fact that the color is off, that is some serious coverage on that, no, that is some serious coverage on that no filter side. All right, let's go in over here. Okay, so now that we have, you know, both sides applied, clearly we can tell which is my summer color versus what may or may not be my winter color. I don't even think I'm that pale during winter, but it's fine. All right, so we're going to move on to the Colourpop No Filter Concealer, which when you go online and you order your No Filter foundation from the Colourpop website, automatically it will give you on the bottom bar, once you've chosen your color, suggestions for the concealer that you should have and suggestions for the pressed powder that you should have. So I went ahead with the suggestions that they gave me just to see if the color matches would be correct. So for the Colourpop No Filter Concealer, it suggested to me medium 26. Now just looking at the tube, I'm going to say that it looks way too light. Just to keep everything pretty much, just to keep continuity going, I'm going to use the same exact products, the powder, the concealer on both sides, just to give everything the best chance to see, you know, which performs better than the other. Okay, so right off the bat, the color that you see here in the tube does not look like the color that's coming out on my eyes. So here it looks like a beigey cream color, and on my eyes, and I don't know how well the camera's gonna pick this up, it is looking like super, super peachy, like definitely leaning more toward an orangey color than anything else. So that's surprising because that I was not expecting to see at all. All right, at the moment, I'm not liking the Colourpop concealer. And mind you, this is actually on the Colourpop side with the no filter foundation underneath. I'm already not liking the concealer. It's looking very spotty. It's not even covering very well. And it doesn't even seem to be playing well with its own foundation, which I find strange. Yeah, okay. Not really sure. It's already settling into the fine lines under my eyes, which usually I have a little bit of playtime once I've applied something. But this is not giving me any time at all. And for two products, the filter and the concealer that are both fairly matte, I'm a little surprised by that. So yeah, wasn't expecting to have to, but I'm going to use my Flower Beauty Miracle Matte Finishing Powder to set under there, because this is usually what I use to set any concealer under my eyes. And let's hope that that helps. And this effectively explains why, look, it it removed a lot of what we already had going on right there with foundation and whatnot, just tapping my sponge into that area. Well, this is off to an interesting start already. Definitely not results I was expecting compared to how many people are online kind of going crazy about this. But let's see how we play. See over here on the CoverGirl matte side, I don't have anything happening under my eyes. It still looks smooth. I mean, you still kind of see my dark circle, but it did cover it a good deal by itself. There's no settling into anything. So far on its own, it's already doing a good job. So now let's go in with the concealer under here and see how that works out. All right. So at first, the Colourpop concealer on the CoverGirl side, it actually applies a little better on this side. But just once you start to actually pat it in and kind of disperse the product, then the same thing starts to happen again. It immediately starts to look kind of splotchy under the eye. It immediately starts to settle into those fine lines without really giving me a chance to get in there with anything and set it. But I still like it on this side better than I do on top of the Colourpop the Colourpop foundation. Yeah. I mean, it does look better on this side, but that's not saying much because it just looks so bad on the other side. And just to be fair, I am gonna set it the same way I did with the Flower Beauty Miracle Matte Powder here. So that's how we're gonna go with that. The rest of my face, there's a little bit of tackiness around the edges as it continues to dry down. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to set with the pressed powder. And by the way, I have it in the shade medium. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set that with that medium shade. But I'm only gonna set like my chin area. So literally I'm gonna go across the bottom half of my face and set it. And then I'm gonna leave the top half of my face without anything just to see if there's any differences in how it performs. So I'm gonna go around my smile lines with it. I'm gonna go across the bottom half of my face here. Only good thing is that this powder, since it has a bit of a tint to it, is adding is adding a tint to that Colourpop side of the foundation. But that's it. I'm keeping everything below this spot here just to see how that would help, if at all. And that's pretty much it. I don't think we should need much of that. And the next time you see me will be for a check-in. And yeah, let's keep hope alive and see how this goes. So usually check-ins would help if I show you what time it is when I start. Alright, so it is 9:30 a.m. or 9:38 a.m. but between all my rambling by the time I was done, we'll say 9:30 a.m. And for the record, we can already see on the Colourpop side a lot of settling into the lines on my forehead. I've mentioned before, I am extremely expressive and everything else, but my other foundations do not do that. And you can see a side-by-side comparison between where Colourpop is settling and where CoverGirl is not settling. And again, clarification, yes, you can see where I make my expressions, but it's the settling of the product into those lines that is the difference. So we're already not off to the best start, but sometimes the longer you wear something, the better it can actually look. We'll give it a fair shot. 9:30 is the start time, and next time you see me, I'll have the rest of my face actually done, and it'll be for the first check-in, so see you then. Okay, so here we are back. It is now 1:25 p.m. and we started at 9:30 this morning. And yeah, time to get all up close and personal. So here we go. We can see that it is majorly settling into my smile lines here. It is picking up so many dry patches and texture. I have not touched my nose or anything for any reason whatsoever, but it is starting to wear off, very patchy here in this area. This is what it is wearing like under the eyes right now, the concealer and the foundation. Now, there should, and as you can see, as I touch it, there's like easy like removal and transfer. It wears, the concealer at least wears a little bit better under the I'm sorry, on top of the CoverGirl foundation, but you would think it would perform better with its own brand foundation, and that's not the case. You can even see all up in here, look, every single tiny fine line. Everywhere I make any type of expression, it is just, I don't have that on the CoverGirl side. Like the CoverGirl side, let me back up here. You know what I mean? Like if you see me and you see this side, it just looks very dry. It just looks, you know, like I don't ever hydrate at all. And the CoverGirl side, I'm not having any of these issues. And again, if you want to see the wear test, I will, for the CoverGirl side, I'll have that link down below. But none of the issues that we're having here. Now, as far as what was happening on the forehead, the bronzer that I used when I finished off my face actually helped that situation better up there. I guess it kind of filled in whatever lines the foundation was settling into, and it helped smooth out whatever was happening up there. But you know, on the rest of the face, you see what's happening. So my opinion on it so far is that I'm just not happy with it and not really getting results I kind of sort of was expecting. But I'm gonna keep wearing this for a while longer. I'm gonna, you know, wear this as long as I can. And yeah, I will be back to check in with you guys again later. Okay, so we are back and it is now 7:53 p.m. So just over 10 hours now, and the end result is just not any better than it's been all day. Sadly enough, the finish of it I kind of like now after 10 hours. But in general, the way it wore, just the way it broke down, all the things that kind of went wrong here, which is again the way the under eyes looking, the way it started to break down and fade away here, the way it started to break down and fade away here. It started off in the beginning being able to cover this pimple I have here, and it just faded away. I haven't touched my chin. I haven't done anything. I've been very careful not to mess with my face, you know, to let this kind of do its thing naturally. Again, everything that's happening all up in here on the forehead and all these lines here, even on my nose, like it started to crinkle and get these really odd lines going on here. So I just, as much as I wanted to love this foundation, as much as I wanted to love the concealer, I just don't. As a matter of fact, the concealer I'm probably going to play with a little bit because it still wore better on the CoverGirl side than it did on the side under its own foundation, which I find odd, but I'm going to keep playing around with the concealer just to see if there's other foundations it'll work better with. But for now, I just have to give that foundation a pass. It just, the CoverGirl side performed so much better, as you can see. I mean, I already had a, you know, a full test on this, so I already knew I liked it a lot. I don't, you know, I'm not bashing Colourpop or anything, because as a brand, I love Colourpop. I have a lot of their items, and you know, I can probably do a whole video on all my favorite things from Colourpop. This is not it. This is just not it, and I could not in good conscience say I like it and, you know, recommend it to anyone and know that it's just not holding up that well. If I had to recommend one, I'm going to absolutely say go with the CoverGirl Matte Made. If you're a dry skin person in general and you're looking for a matte foundation that'll look good and hold up, especially in this hot summer weather we're having now, I would 100% say go with the CoverGirl. And I mean, CoverGirl one, you can go in and buy in stores. It's cheaper because it's $8.99 for that one. So as opposed to having to go on Colourpop, on the website, which is the only place that their foundation is available, it's $12. Then you have to pay for shipping, and then you have to wait for it to be shipped to you. Whereas you can walk into your drugstore and get the CoverGirl one and see the colors in front of you, get your shade that way. It's still kind of tricky to pick your shade for sure, but being able to see the colors helps and makes it just a little bit easier. But I can't, you know, I can't get behind this foundation at all. Again, like I said, I'll keep playing with the concealer to see if that gets any better. So far, I'm not a huge fan, but I do see potential because it is working well with the other foundation. And the powder pulls more pink than I was expecting. I was expecting more of a yellow undertone, maybe golden undertone to it. I was not expecting the pinky kind of shade it came off. Like I did a finger swatch on the back of my hand, and it just surprised me. I'm like, it's not what I was expecting. It's not what I was looking for. So I'm gonna give that another shot, again, using some other foundations and stuff, because the foundation that I used it with was a little darker than the powder itself. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm sorry. The Colourpop one was just a fail for me. And as you can see, you know, for yourself, side by side, how one performs better than the other. There's just, you know, pictures, videos speak 1,000 words. So I wouldn't even have to say a word. You can see everything there for yourself. So that's it for this video. On that note, I'm going to be saying good night. So if you haven't already, please comment, rate, subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. That's all that I have for you tonight. You have an amazing rest of the weekend wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.